Either way, they're getting farm on their 2 cores, and they're starting to really pull ahead of Rattlesnake. We look at the gold graph, and a 7,500 gold lead, a 12,000 experience lead. That's pretty big, because Rattlesnake are very level dependent.
Yeah, and again, I want to point back to what we talked about during the analysis. When you down by 10,000 gold, you don't come back. It's extremely, extremely rare, especially in these high levels. And sure, Rattlesnake definitely have the heroes to do it. RP, late game, Empower, late game, Doom, one of the best kind of disabler, single target as well as AoE disabler with the Centaur Stomp. I'm just not seeing it. They got to get up a couple more ganks right now against Sylar, but he's so damn well protected. I talked about the gem earlier. I talked about how LG's always multiple time carrying teleport scrolls. DDC getting himself a little bit farm on the mid lane. He's almost going to have mech finish, and that might be the window closing in rapidly against Rattlesnake.
4-man smoke here from Rattlesnake. They start behind their own tier 2, and they'll rotate towards the jungle. They really need to make something happen. They've gone for a lot of early to mid game items. They haven't accomplished a whole lot. They do have a gem on Lamb. He picked that up earlier. They may find someone. Meanwhile, top lane looks like Xiaowei picks up Icy, but they want Sylar. They'll lasso him up. This would be the much bigger kill. They have RP. They have Doom. They'll throw everything at Sylar, and he will go down. They find DDC as well. They only RP the Visage. Not really the best hero to focus. Generally, he's pretty tanky. In comes Xiaowei. He's teleported into the fight. Stun from Luo. Not enough. There's your Spike Carapace. Lamb dropping low on the run. Yao's going to clean him up. They do kill off Sylar. They don't get the Visage in the end. He actually lives, and Sagam falls as well. When it's all said and done, Lumi, there's a lot of dead bodies on the side of Rattlesnake. 4 heroes hit the deck, and they threw everything. Yes, they got the anti-mage kill, but they only got the anti-mage kill.
This is where you say at what cost. I mean, Rattlesnake, they did okay. Like you said, they got the anti-mage kill, but at the end of the day, they lost a ton more heroes. They also lost a gem. It's purchased,
and they literally just
got it, and they didn't even deward a single ward. So it's a very, very costly gank. Sure, you shut down anti-mage, but at the same time, everybody else is getting so damn farm. I think this is a very good time to start looking at net worth. Your Nyx Assassin on your Radiant side, on the solo mid, it's out farming every single member of Rattlesnake. This game is getting very hard. I think this is where you go full out late game mode and expect your Nature's Prophet as well as Devour Doom to hopefully win the late game, because I don't think this mid game ganks are going to work out.
You know, and the thing is, LGD, with this kind of a start on your Queen of Pain, Yao is suddenly a pretty big concern.
Yeah.
They need things like RP and Lasso for him, but you need everything to kill the anti-mage. So while those spells are down as well, Sylar, he can just farm away, push the lanes out. He doesn't have to be too worried about a gank for about the next minute or so. Sure, there's a Lasso, but they need everything. Doom just now cools down, but he's gotten a few creep waves off. He'll soon have his ultimate orb. LGD, I think this is just where, as long as they continue to play safe, play stable, and play defensively, move as a pack, react quickly, always carry TP scrolls, it's in their wheelhouse, Lumi, and it's Rattlesnake who have to be feeling the heat.
Yeah, they are feeling the heat, and speaking of heat, Doombringer, I do want to talk about his uses of Devour. It seems like he's not really using Devour to the max potential. He's always Devour. Sometimes Devour is not even being used, and it's basically like a Midas. You have to use it like a clockwork. Also, when he's Devouring, he's always eating these full HP Centaurs, which means that his Devour cooldown will be done, and he cannot Devour because he's still eating that yummy Centaur. So if you want to carry late game anti-mage, you have to...
Here comes Xiaowei, by the way. He's rotated up. No, he'll back off. Thought he was going to make a go there, but LGD, they'll only make a go if they feel it's really favorable. If it's an even odds
They don't have to make a go. They can just go late.
It's only if it feels safe.
Yeah.
If they see a hero 2 top and mid there, they jump bottom, but otherwise, just put the threat of going in, and that's it.
Yeah, Luo needs to step it up in his Doom late farming game. So far, I mean, he never actually had to play a late game Doom. He's always using it as a mid game ganker, which is completely fine. But this is the one game where he does have to go late game Doom, and well, we'll see how it goes.
Fast Scythe of Ice on Yao. Went for the Orchid, went for the Treads. 27.5 minutes in, he's picked it up. It's not that fast if you rush Scythe of Ice, but when you get Orchid first, that's pretty outrageous farm. And you look at this Queen of Pain actually still out farming Sylar, and she was left alone bottom lane. They ran this greedy line. A Prophet can do all right against Queen of Pain. Hard to actually dominate her, especially when she's in her safe lane. And LGD, they've taken advantage of that, and they now pull very far ahead on their 2 cores. And what do you do if you're Rattlesnake, Lumi? You gotta use all your ults basically to kill the anti-mage. But if you do that, then Yao runs free. It's a tough position here for Rattlesnake.
I think they're going to try their best to hold on to a tier 2 and basically farm. So that means I see your Midas on cooldown, you're not using it. God, they just need to basically exploit the jungle as much as possible. You see that Rattlesnake is doing that. And, well, again, out-farming anti-mage is not a game-winning proposition, but to me, that's their best chance of winning right now.
LGD have shown that they don't give up easy kills, at least not this game. They haven't gotten picked off. The early gem pickup allows them to keep Sylar safe. They've been quick on the TP reactions, and like you said, no other real options for Rattlesnake. So I like how they're playing just kind of defensively, not trying to force the issue anymore, but it's a situation that should favor LGD at the end of the day. They've got the dual cores. They've got the more mobile carries. They'll blink in now. They catch out Xiao. Can they bring him down? That's the question. Kabu skewers him back into the tower, but your Carapace comes out. Xiao's tanky. He's under cover of Vendetta. He may go down. He didn't have the gem anymore. They get him.
Yeah, that's the kill where you did not use any of your ultimates, and you still got
well,
it.
They used the lasso.
Well, yeah, that's fine. But you keep your Doom, you keep your RP. Just great use. Nobody get overcommitted, and suddenly, are they thinking about Roshan here? As there's a big wave going to the tier 2, so Anti-Mage, his hands are tied up a little bit as he teleports mid. Yeah, great play, big play coming out from Rattlesnake. They can make something happen.
If they can take Roche. They don't have much physical damage. There's no medallion. There's no minus armor. Not going to be that fast of a Roche, but they're going for it.
Yeah,
Gosh darn it.
It's hard actually for Radiant to engage into this because there's a blink, buyback comes out from Xiao, being forced out basically, and immediately Rattlesnake rotate back. I mean, they basically pressed it and got a little bit out of that gank, and they're happy with this.
I like how they backed off. They force out the buyback. They're not going to commit, and they don't have to. Just play defensively. If you can do some economic damage to LGD, you're in good shape, but still Sylar is farming. He's now up to 13.4k net worth, just surpassing Yao, who's been ahead of him pretty much all game. Now leads in your creep stats as well, and offensive Charlie and Anti-Mage, 30 minutes in, 230 CS, not that impressive, but when you consider the scenario and the amount of pressure that's been on him, Sylar, well, he's only died, well, he's died 3 times this game, but it has been at the cost of Yao getting a lot of space.
Yeah, well, we do see a little bit of rotation here for Sylar. Doom comes in. Where's the RP? No, the RP is a little bit late. Where's the Sonic Wave? It's coming in right about now. Look at everybody getting blown up. The Doom on Anti-Mage not doing a single thing. Luo's going to get picked off as well. Icy going to straight TP out. Can he make it? Looks like he will just barely, though. Buyback coming out from Magnus, but looks like, oh no, the poison in the fountain got a kill here against Nature Crawford.
Nothing really going the way of Rattlesnake in these fights. That could be Roche, or it could just be high ground, because there's no Doom, there's no lasso. LGD, probably the safe way is to go Roche, and they'll go for it now. Sylar jumps in, Xiao's already there. Conveniently, Roche at half HP. Rattlesnake, well, they've just given up a tier 2. They've given up a buyback.
Wow.
They're actually going to tap out. They were down by 10k. That's our magic number for these series. They're down by 10k gold, actually a little bit more after that fight. 17k experience, LGD Gaming, your favorites throughout the group stages, throughout the playoffs. Well, they're not going to slip in game 1. They're off to a hot start. 1-0, they lead.
Yeah, they knew that once the Anti-Mage picks up the Aegis, there's no way they can kill him twice, and he just does a ton of damage. And Queen of Pain, Nyx Assassin, these are heroes that they can't ignore either, so it's just too many single target stuns and not many ways to actually really follow through with the damage.
I felt for Rattlesnake a bit greedy of a draft, and I think the way they drafted was okay if they executed really well. If the first Doom movement was successful, you find a kill with Doom. If your first RP nets a kill, if you get a relatively fast Blink Dagger, I think it could have worked, but LGD at the end of the day, Yao dominated that bottom lane. He did it hard. Prophet had to TP off the lane twice, and frankly, it's normally a little bit more even of a matchup if you just sick the Treants on the Queen of Pain and last hit well, but Yao played really well in the bottom lane. Rattlesnake, those first few misfires, that's where LGD just pulled really far ahead. I felt overall for LGD, just better movement.
It really was the first misfire. You talked about the first blood up top. Doombringer turned level 6 like 5 minutes in. Couldn't find a gank till like 8-9 minutes. And that's not what you pick a Doom for. You really want those early game aggression. Didn't have it. And the other team snowball a lot harder. But let's quickly send it back to the analyst table and let's see what they think.
Yeah, definitely agree the Doom pick didn't really work out as planned. It was actually the first time that they didn't run the Doom in a lane. Normally they do it either mid lane or safe lane. This time they went for a jungle. And offensive jungle as well. It was kind of cute. It got some early levels, but the problem is LGD, they can keep track of when he hits level 6. As soon as he hit level 6, they got a ward up near the top lane in that jungle area, and he tried to rotate in, never worked.
Yeah, it's a little scary putting Doom in the jungle as well because you don't necessarily know what creeps you're going to get. It can really hinder you a lot.
Yeah.
And this transitioned okay into the mid game because Doom is excellent at killing Anti-Mage, but the downside is that it's such a long cooldown. It's 110 seconds for Doom. It sets up a great kill on Anti-Mage, but it's not just Doom alone that kills him. You need Doom plus another hero like Batrider or Magnus, and that's like 2 huge abilities that takes a lot just to slightly shut down AM. They got 2 good ganks off, but I mean, he's still got amazing farm.
The problem was you shut down they don't really shut down the AM entirely. They slow down his farm. But when you're far enough behind that, Xiao on Nyx Assassin is controlling the game, and Queen of Pain had Orchid Hex at like 27 minutes or something ridiculously fast. The game just gets out of hand. You can't just having blink daggers on your key teamfight controlling heroes wasn't enough. Sure, you kill the anti-mage 2-3 times, doesn't matter.
Yeah, he had the most last hits in the game, the Queen of Pain did. It's ridiculous. He doesn't miss last hits. His last hitting for creep waves is flawless. If there's a wave of 7, he gets every single one, and that really does add up over the long term. So it just seemed like really, really solid play out of LGD. Zhao 8, even him, great hero matchup for him against Batrider. He can constantly mana drain. He's not going to die in that because he can always pop Spike Carapace and run. And then he also just had some great ganking in the mid game after he got that nice farm advantage early. He did a great job as well.
As far as drafts go, I think that was the other interesting point. Darkseer, not picked or banned in the first stage. He got banned out in the second ban stage, which to me was a huge surprise. The other sort of interesting thing was that Rattlesnake decided to ban out Lone Druid Lifestealer, probably because they didn't have the first pick, but at the same time, it gave LGD both Shadow Demon and Visage and 2 support heroes. This is almost their most preferred support duo, which, well, they did really well with.
Yeah, and we even saw the Shadow Demon pay off in the last team fight. Anti-Mage looked completely dead, skewered all the way back. He got doomed. They were thinking about RPing him, I believe, or he got Flaming Lassoed, and the Shadow Demon came forward, disrupted, and when you put that much focus on one hero who's then going to survive for an extra couple seconds, and at the end of the team fight pop Manta, just one-sided team fight. So, I mean, everything just pulled together really well. Congrats to LGD for taking game 1.
Well, LGD take game 1. We're going to see if Rattlesnake can bounce back, see if our prediction for the 3-1 is going to be right, or whether or not Team Casters, David and David, are going to be right with their 3-2 Rattlesnake prediction. But right now, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be Game 2 between LGD, China, and Rattlesnake. It's your grand finals for the International 3 Eastern Qualifiers.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's Game 2, LGD Gaming versus Rattlesnakes. This one is a best of 5. Your winner, well, they'll be in the main event, the big dance at the International 3. Your East qualifiers, it all concludes tonight. LGD Gaming leading the best of 5 with a quick 1-0 start. Lumi, we predicted Rattlesnakes 3-2. We never thought it would be easy. How do they bounce back?
Draft better. You talked about the greedy draft, especially against the core that the Radiant took, which was very, very safe, very anti-mage. You know exactly what they want to do.
Very anti-mage.
Yeah. Oh, very safe, very very standard. They're never going to change. They're not going to go anti-mage and suddenly go blink Dagon on you, blink and slam. It's going to be completely standard. All you have to do is have a game plan, and they drafted like 4 to 5 semi-carries, and they tried to do everything in the playbook, and it just ended up not working out well.
I think they just got that. I think we actually saw this happen to IG. Zenith was playing them in a best of 3.
Oh, where they didn't ban anything, and IG was like, candy time.
Yeah.
Let's get everything.
It's like a kid on Halloween. He's like, I want a little bit of Snickers and a little bit of Twix and some jelly beans on top, and then he's got a tummy ache and he's puking it all back out. Yeah. It was a mess. They saw red. It was like the bull, and they just charged right at the Matador's cape. But I think this game, they kind of calm themselves, collect themselves. They take a step back and they say, we could have gone for something like the Darkseer instead of the Magnus. Or if we wanted Magnus, we put a mid. We run Bat Riders or Jungle. We don't try to pick Doom and Prophet. So I think we'll see a more balanced draft from Rattlesnake, and actually, it'll be a different draft. They're going to get that Kunkka, which a hero that has sort of come out of nowhere the past couple of weeks. It used to be we would only see him as a dual lane mid. Shadow Demon Kunkka, that was pretty much it. Maybe an offensive trialing, but we've seen him solo mid. We've seen Kunkka's ganking a lot. This hero has really exploded onto the scene, and I like the pick by Rattlesnake.
Yeah, Kunkka is definitely kind of the biggest hero for both these teams. Meanwhile, we're going to see a quick Shadow Demon and Darkseer pickup, and more importantly, setting themselves for a Spectre pickup as well. It'll surprise me if Rattlesnake here does not pick up a clock themselves. Kabu has been playing that clock beautifully, and I mean, it's a very nice setup here. You kind of hook in, you get your 1 or 2 man cog. Your Kunkka has basically absolutely free setup. The only thing that you have to be somewhat careful about is Shadow Demon Disruption. He could single-handedly, well, disrupt your entire combo.
If they go Spectre, they are now up against Darkseer and Shadow Demon. That is a lot of Spectres going the other way. Rattlesnake, they won't go for it. They'll go for a very cute combo. You talked about the cogs. We're going to see a Skywrath Mage and a Clockwork. You cog someone up, and then you drop down the pain from that Skywrath Mage ultimate. You can blow heroes up quickly, and for LGD, they don't have anyone who can get out of the cogs.
Well, Shadow Demon again, is going to provide the disruption. It could kind of delay the death a little bit longer, especially when he gets a very timely one. For me, the big Skywrath Mage pickup here, yeah, Mixed Flare is great with the cogs. It's great against Darkseer as well. Darkseer likes to run in and think he's boss by dropping out, Surge, Vacuum Wall, and it's actually very hard to stop him. Skywrath Mage says, I don't care. I have instant silence, and that's actually one of his strongest ability. You see a lot of support Skywrath Mage kind of leveling that up, and he will be played as a support Skywrath Mage. I haven't seen the Chinese play him any other way.
Yeah, and it also discourages that anti-mage pick, which maybe LGD we're going to go back to the well for here, because if they go anti-mage, now you have the silence, and that's a good way to burst him down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very easy way, in fact, to burst him down. Normally, you max that silence first, and I do believe it's like, what, 7 seconds?
6 seconds when it's maxed.
6 seconds max, and more importantly, magical damage increase. When you have heroes like Kunkka, Clockwork, there's a decent amount of magical damage. LG taking a little bit of time. This is where they kind of easy pick, third pick Spectre, but they haven't done it so far.
They'll go Visage here. I actually thought maybe Rattlesnake would go for something like the Spectre Visage, but I mean, when you think about it more, LGD so many illusion counters with the Shadow Demon and the Darkseer, so I like the fact that they went for Clockwork Skywrath, made something different, and you can already tell LGD took a little bit of time there. Like, wait, what? Yeah. I mean, sure, Rattlesnake has picked some of these heroes before, but this particular combination, not something they were necessarily expecting.
Yeah, more importantly, Visage also give you another way to aid your teammates, even through those cogs, as well as Torrents or whatever combo. You send your birds in, drop them down, nothing is going to stop you. If they want to focus down your birds, well, they're not focusing on your heroes. So it's not a bad kind of defensive pickup, and also it retains them a lot of offensive power as well.
Rattlesnake, we've seen that Clockwork has been everything from a solo mid to a 4-position support. So no idea how they'll lane it. Kunkka's good in tri-lanes. They don't really have a great setup for him yet. Concussive Shot is okay, not really great, but we'll see where they go from here. I would like to see Rattlesnake get another stun on one of their supports, something maybe like Alina. Rubik wouldn't be too bad, but they need a little more AoE. They need a little more lockdown to deal with Darkseer, and we'll see where they go from here. For LGD, they need a carry, and what is Siler going to play this game? Only Spectre banned, so Anti-Mage is available. Apparently they're not worried about it if he gets his hands on it. There is a Phantom Lancer. They already have 2 supports for LGD, so I doubt we would see the Keeper of the Light Phantom Lancer combo, but where do you think LGD goes for that Sylar hero?
I mean, Dragon Knight mid is also an option. It could be a 1-row Dragon Knight as well. We don't see it too commonly, but he's definitely a hero that the Chinese team is very familiar with. But aside from that, Weaver's being banned out as well, so that's another decent carry choice. And what else does Sylar play? Seems like he's got that 4 or 5 heroes, and Anti-Mage is not too good here.
This is where you could bring up the heroes list. I, of course, can't, because I'm showing the draft, but we'll see what he goes for. I mean, you mentioned Dragon Knight.
There's a Luna.
Luna, that's another common one. Something that, well, looking at this game, Luna would actually be it's a little bit dangerous, because if you get cogged, you can end up just being useless in a fight.
Sure.
The silence is going to be annoying.
Although BKB is kind of trumping everything so far that Rattlesnake has.
If you can farm it, LGD does have a strong tri lane if they go Luna, because they have Visage and Shadow Demon, so maybe it will be a Luna. I think that would be a pretty decent choice.
Yeah, we'd also seen Sylar do that Broodmother
no
thing against
no,
Alliance.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I'm not buying it myself either. I mean, there's kind of the more traditional carries, like things like Void and whatnot, but I don't expect that as well. So maybe when going gets tough, you just go back to the Anti-Mage, even though there's a lot of ways to deal with it. And Earthshaker is going to get the pickup. A ton of long range, a ton of melee heroes so far from Rattlesnake as well.
There's the big bad guy with the totem, and it gives them some really strong long-range initiation. They have a lot of burst damage, a great setup for Torrent if it's a Kunkka tri-lane, a great setup to get in range for Cogs. I like the pick because it suits Rattlesnake. They're an aggressive team. They want to take the fight to you early. LGD is the team where they'd rather play that kind of low-action game where they have a few ganks and they're very good at finding the right opportunities for them. They'll go DK here, but Rattlesnake, they're the team that just wants to snowball, and another snowball hero, it's going to be the Shadow Fiend.
The most snowball hero. You just go safe lane farm, you go quick Shadow Blade, Mask of Madness, Yasha, whatever you want after your face speed, obviously. And then you just go all over the map. Suddenly these supports, Shadow Demon, Visage, they're free picking. More importantly, once you get enough levels of your damage, as well as your minus armor aura, those birds, they're 300 gold. Everywhere you see them, 1-hit KO.
You know, Shadow Fiend, we've seen him win the safe lane versus Darkseer before. I think CTY, the last player I remember to show us that. So he does decently against Darkseer if he's pulled and if he's hitting his raises. Those are the 2 key things. You do have to last hit under tower. Maybe he gets a little support early. Rattlesnake are known for their dual lanes, so I don't know if they have the best dual lanes this game, but maybe that's something we see. He also does well mid against DK. That's a matchup where Shadow Fiend should be able to last hit pretty freely because Dragon Knight doesn't have great base damage, isn't really that strong with his attack animations, kind of slow. I think Shadow Fiend fits this game, and if Rattlesnake, if they go aggressive tri-lane, it's hard for LGD to punish that Shadow Fiend. It puts a lot of pressure on Yao to win the 1v1 matchup, assuming he plays the Darkseer.
And we're going to see a Gyrocopter coming out from LG Gaming. I expect it's going to be a defensive tri-lane up bot, Darkseer up top, or Darkseer on the Suicide lane. For a second, I thought LG was on the Dire, or on the Radiant, sorry. But it's going to be a safe lane Gyrocopter, Suicide Darkseer, and solo mid from Xiaowei. But it's like you said, I feel like Rattlesnake has the better lane here. It's hard to actually kill Luo multiple times because Neo is going to be providing the fissure block always.
It's a strong tri-lane for Rattlesnake, and I like this draft as well because there's not as much pressure on them to have those early ganks. They have a very suitable dual core, at least, with Shadow Fiend and Kunkka, and even potentially a tri-core. Heroes like Lamb, Skywrath Mage could do a lot of work in the early to mid game. So we'll introduce the 2 teams. You've got the Juggernauts on the Dire side, Yao on the Darkseer, one of his signature heroes. Xiaowei taking the Dragon Knight mid. He has been pulled a set of tangos. DDC playing the Visage, one of his heroes that he's had a lot of success with in this tournament. Sylar, he'll be your 1-position hero. He'll be the Gyrocopter. Had kind of a shaky game in game number 1. It was enough in the end. And last, but certainly not least, it's DD, a man we thought we had lost to retirement, to casting, but he's back and he's been impressive so far. LGD, they lead the best of 5 1-0. If they win 2 more games, they'll be in the main event, the big dance at Seattle this August.
And of course, Rattlesnake, the team that we're predicting, we being LD and myself, to go 3-2 against LGD. They're definitely underdog in the series here, and they will having Lamb play Skywrath Mage. Again, play some sort of carry last game, now back on support. We're going to have Luo on the bot lane, on the Shadow Fiend. Going mid's going to be Icy playing his Kunkka. And then we're going to go see going up top, it's going to be Neo or Sagam on Earthshaker. And last but not least, Kabu and Clockwork. I like their smart read on the lane. They know that Darkseer is going to be going on the long lane by himself. And you really need only one support to give Shadow Fiend that quick level 3. Because for the first 2 level, I think Darkseer will easily outlane the Shadow Fiend. But post level 3 or so, where Shadow Fiend is going to have the necessary base damage to basically last at everything, as well as the raises to protect himself with dive, he should be absolutely fine.
And this is actually a lane, despite having 0 stuns, that could kill a Darkseer.
Easily,
If you lead with the concussive shot and then you silence him with the Ancient Seal before he gets off Surge, Shadowfee can just walk up, hit a couple of raises, and even if you don't kill him then, you set up a potential kill later on. DD, he's got a haster, and he'll head up to the top Ancient stack here. Not actually going to do anything with that, but just going to back off. He'll head towards top now. For Rattlesnake, it started off as the dual lanes, but we now see the Earthshaker rotating bottom. So they're going to leave Kabu to fend for himself. And this is probably the most interesting hero-player combination in the game. Kabu, Clockwork. He's been pretty sexy on this hero in the past.
Yeah, we'll see what build he's going to be going for. I imagine it's going to be something that takes heavily on the Rocket Flare. I don't think he's going to have too much solo killing potential. Shadowfiend, though, is missing a ton of CS on the bot lane, missed all 4 under his tower. That's a big deal. You can't do that. But Luo should be able to have an easier time. Not against double Iron Shell. Those things are pretty hard to last it against.
It's going to be hard for him. And Yao's already level 2, which means, well, they need a good Fissure block to find a kill here. Yao, he'll tango through. They're not going to kill him off. Missing more last hits is Luo. 1 last hit, 2 waves in. And that's not counting the denies either. You can just get 8 hits if you last hit all the creeps. They need him to step it up because they need to be able to get some levels on these supports. And in order to do that, he needs to be self-sufficient. Right now, he's not.
Yeah, it really delays, for example, your 2 support from being able to rotate gank mid with the smoke deceit that they already have. It's an easier time here for the Darkseer, and again, sooner or later, he's going to start diving you. If you're really under level, he's going to get some level.
They're going to go now.
They're still going to go here. I'm not sure whether it's going to be effective. Xiao A somewhat low on the mid lane, a single fissure into a silence and a concussive shot. Unfortunately, they don't have concussive shot right now because Skywrath Mage is level 1. Xiao A comes out on the right side, debuffs the smoke, and now this Observer sees him. So a ton of time being wasted back and forth here for Rattlesnake.
And this also puts more pressure on Luo. 5 last hits, but chewing quickly through his tangos. He needs a few more denies here. He's only got 6 CS, and you compare that to heroes like the Gyrocopter top lane, 11 and 4 on Sylar. This is something that Clockwork can't do. Clockwork can get levels and live in the off lane. He can't zone the enemy carry out. He can't put this level of pressure on them. And I mean, it's just the beauty of the Darkseer pick. I was a little surprised we didn't see him early last game, but we'll see him this game. And so far, you got to say, very successful for LGD.
Also, D-Ward comes